What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. Not only are we in a very nice car, a Porsche Taycan GTS Sport Turismo, but we are going on a proper road trip. I am currently on my way to Dover, then I'll hop on a ferry over to France, then I'll be driving over 500 miles the long way down to the Swiss Alps. Switzerland is one of my favorite places on earth. I haven't been back since my last road trip, which was, I think, back in 2019 in my BMW M4. This trip's going to be a little bit different though, just because this is an electric car, and I'm interested / a little bit nervous to find out what it's like to do a proper European road trip in an electric car. Anyway, I've got a lot of driving to do, so I will crack on and I will catch up with you when I get to France. Well, bon friggin' jaw, and welcome to France. We made it. Yes! So the reason I'm going on this road trip, aside from me loving Switzerland and being desperate to get back there, is, like I touched on earlier, to see what it's really like to do a proper European road trip in an electric car. Will there be enough chargers? Will my battery die and leave me stranded in the middle of nowhere, forcing me to go full-on Tarzan mode and live in the forest for the rest of my life? If everything goes to plan, this will be at least a 2,000 mile road trip, so it'll give me a really good idea of what it's actually like to do a trip like this. I'll also be filming a video for my main channel because I found this really cool looking abandoned nuclear power plant, so I want to go see that, explore it, maybe climb it. Most of you guys are probably from the main channel anyway, so you know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, I'll leave a link down in the description. I picked up this car yesterday, so this trip is going to give me a really good chance just to get to know it and see what it's like. Not only to live with generally, but also properly drive it on some really, just some delicious roads up in the mountains. The car is saying I've got 195 kilometers of charge, which seems to be about 50%. So I'm going to crack on, get some driving done, and I will see you when I get to the first charging station of this road trip. So I've had a bit of an interesting couple of hours. So when you last saw me, I had what, 200 kilometers of range, about 50% battery. I thought, you know what, I'll do a little bit more, maybe 50, 60 kilometers. I'll get a full charge and then I'll just go as far as I can get, find somewhere to stay, start again tomorrow. So I got to the chargers. Not one of them worked. I'm parked up in my electric car. I can't charge my electric car. So then I jumped on the app. I looked for more of these Ionity chargers because I've got a card that lets me charge for free. Thank you to Porsche GB for that card. I found this set, which was 120 kilometers away. And when I left, I had 130 kilometers of range. You know me, we like a bit of risk. So I'm driving. The range is staying solid. I'm gonna make it. And then a rainstorm just kicks in. This is crazy. This is one of the thickest rainstorms I've ever been in. What is going on? And it lasts for about a half an hour. My range just starts dropping quicker and quicker. I'm like, what is going on? Then the storm ends, and thankfully my range it didn't creep back up, but it slowed down slower. Anyway, I'm blabbering. I got here with 3% battery. There's 4 chargers here. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. This one, thankfully, works. So I'm plugged in, I'm charging. I've been plugged in for like half an hour, right? And I've gone from 3% to 93%. Like that quick, which is incredible when you think about it. But if it doesn't work, what's the point? So not the best start to this road trip, but you know, I'm gonna give it a chance. Aside from that, the car is phenomenal. We'll talk more about the car as the trip goes on, but I like this car a lot. I really wanted to like the charging situation, but it's not started off very well. But we'll see how the rest of the trip goes. The time is 11:30. I don't know where I am. I'm somewhere in France. I have no idea. So while this tops up and finishes off, I'm gonna look for somewhere to stay and go and get some sleep. So catch up in the morning. So when I woke up this morning, it was absolutely chucking it down. So I changed my plans and decided to just do the whole drive down to Switzerland. And here we are. This is Lake Geneva. It rained for pretty much the entire drive. I'm talking like 6 hours of heavy rain. I had to stop twice to charge and I had no issues today, which is awesome. I stopped at a 150 kilowatt hour charger and then at one of the Ionity 350 kilowatt hour chargers. Tomorrow we get to the proper driving roads, but to finish off a long day of driving, I'm gonna do something I've been craving the entire way down here. I'm going for a swim. And good morning. Remember the abandoned nuclear power plant I was telling you about earlier? Well, this is it. Look at this. This place is crazy. Anyway, I realise that you've mostly just been looking at my face up until this point, and I haven't actually shown you the car properly. So here it is. This is the Takan GTS Sport Turismo, and it is by far my favourite electric car on the market right now. I prefer it over the regular Taycan, and in my opinion, there is just no other electric car that even comes close to how good this thing looks. It's got about 520 horsepower, 2 motors, so one at the front, one at the rear, so all-wheel drive. This colour is called Carmine Red, and as spec'd, this car costs around £120,000. The only thing I will say is I'm not the biggest fan of these aero wheels, but to be fair to Porsche, good-looking aerodynamic wheels are pretty hard to come by. If I was ordering one of these, I'd go for the GTS wheels. A Sport Turismo on the GTS wheels looks insane. Anyway, the Taycan is Porsche's first proper attempt at a fully electric car. And we all know that electric cars are super fast in a straight line. But the question is, when it comes to the twisties, does it drive like you'd expect a Porsche to drive? I guess we'll find out when we get out of here and over that way somewhere. Just look at this. Can you see why I love this place so much now? The views, the nature, the fresh mountain air, but most of all, the Alps are just covered in incredible driving roads. So let's stop talking and do some driving. And we are starting on the Grimsel Pass. This is one of the most famous passes in Switzerland, and you are about to see why. This place is just perfection. I mean, these roads, this scenery, oh God, I cannot get enough of it. I actually filmed a lot of my M4 video on this exact pass back in like 2019, a good few years ago, and it is just as good as I remember. This view right here, I mean, look at that. That says it all really. There's just no words to describe this place. It is out of this world. So 520 horsepower doesn't sound like a huge amount nowadays, but because this car is electric, it feels so much quicker than that number would suggest. 850 newton meters of torque whenever you want it. It is crazy how fast this car is. I can't even begin to imagine what the Taycan Turbo or the Turbo S is like, because the power in this GTS model is already outrageous. Oh my god. Oh. And as if by magic, it is chucking it down, and it's sunny. The climate up on these friggin' mountains is just all over the place. I stopped to just get a couple of shots of the whole pass down the hill, and within seconds I was absolutely eaten by a cloud. It started raining, the wind is crazy. Anyway, got myself a coffee, and then we will head down the other side of the pass, which is just as good, if not better, than what we just did. Right, the weather up there just isn't changing, so we're going for it. We're going down the other side of the Grimsel Pass, and hopefully, as we get lower down the mountain, it should clear up a bit. Look, I just can't see anything. Look at the visibility, there's just nothing there. Oh, hang on a second, look at this. Look at this. It's worked, it's clearing up, let's go. This car is equipped with a rear wheel steering package, and on tight bends like this, it just makes all the difference, and it really helps hide the weight of this car. This car weighs something crazy. I think it's like 2.4 tons, but it doesn't feel anywhere even close to that weight. It's also huge at over 2.1 meters wide and nearly 5 meters long, but considering the size, it is so nimble. The feedback through the steering wheel is great. I love this steering wheel, by the way. Nice and slim. I think Porsche are famous for their slim steering wheels, and I can see why. And the traction, oh my god, it just sticks to the road. I've got traction like in the sport mode, so like half off, and it just goes. This car, it just doesn't make any sense. How does something this big, this heavy, do this? It just doesn't add up. What a car, and what a road. Oh my goodness me. And now we are on to another one of Switzerland's most famous passes. This is the Furka Pass. This road was actually made famous by Goldfinger, the old school James Bond film with Sean Connery. The part they used in the film is on the other side, so we'll see that when we get there, but let's just enjoy this road. Oh my god. So the way up the Furka Pass is mainly just long sweeping corners, but when we start coming down the other side, there is a lot more tighter bends, and it's so much better. Oh, and here is the famous Belvedere Hotel. This is like a legendary spot up here. Everybody comes here for photos. You've probably seen it in photos before, but look, it is pretty much always chaos here. Unless you come here super early or maybe in the evening, it's pretty quiet, but during the day, yeah, it's manic. Look at this, so many cars. Look at that ice in the distance. Oh, you've got to be careful up here. You can't just come here and drive like a lunatic, because there's motorbikes everywhere, there's push bikes everywhere, and sometimes this happens where you get stuck in a little bit of traffic. All right, we're going for this overtake. Let's go, baby. Look at these corners, man. Look at this, big, sweeping, smooth corners. I'm gonna be saying this a lot on this trip, but look at that. That is just insane, man. And now we begin the descent. I actually waited up there just for a little bit, just to try and create a gap so that I can enjoy the road and not get stuck in traffic. So yeah, like I said before, the way down the other side, in my opinion, is way better. It's just, there's a lot more tighter bends. You can see them here. Incredible bit of road down here. Look at this. Down here somewhere. I've zoomed my map on my dash right in just so I can see what's coming next, because if you can't see what's coming next, you got to be careful, because if you go off the edge of that, for example, you are done. So we've got this again, just big open sweeping corners, and then right around the edge of the mountain there is where it gets really good. That's where the James Bond bit is. There's just something so special about this place. It's like everybody's happy just to be alive and just to be here. There is car people everywhere. It's an endless stream of nice cars up here. Everybody waves at each other, especially Porsche people. I've noticed this. Almost every Porsche I've seen up here, everyone is like, hey, all right mate, nice car. The brakes in this thing are mega, by the way. And they have to be up here. Whoa. Be careful of the motorbikes. There is a hell of a lot of motorbikes around here. Some of them do very stupid things, so just be aware if you do ever come here. Oh, look at this one. Oh. Bit of understeer, but this car is very heavy. We are flying down a very steep hill, and these tyres are probably a bit too hot at this point. This is it, I think. And look at that, there's an Aston Martin. Fancy that. That is the James Bond lookout point, I think. I don't know what it's called, but that is it, there's a sign. Here we are now, we're back on the good tarmac, look at this. This is like fresh, brand new tarmac, smooth as butter. It is just deadly corner after deadly corner up here. What's that? Cheeky little RS6. Yeah, we like that. Oh, what a road, man. And then down here, this is called the Overalp Pass. Overalp Pass? Don't really know how to say it properly, but you come from the Furka Pass, you drive east. I think it's Route 19. You go down Route 19, then you begin the climb up this pass, which is good. I mean, all roads out here are good, but the way down on this other side is just ridiculous. The bends on this one are so good. They're super tight. It's just a really good technical bit of road. Another Porsche squad. It's a good one. Flipping heck, man. And that is it. That is the Overalp Pass. It's a quick one on the way down, but it's so good. I don't think I'd ever get bored of this place. This place ticks every single box. I love the nature. I love the altitude. The roads are phenomenal. I mean, and the people are happy. Like, everybody's nice around here. And you can see why. I think I'd be a lot happier if I lived out here. Like, can you imagine just living up here, a couple of sick cars, waking up every day, oh, GT4, going for a nice early morning drive. Oh, goals, people, goals. Good morning. So the time has come for me to leave this particular part of the Alps. There are so many other passes all over the place that I would have loved to have shown you, but unfortunately, I just don't have the time on this trip and I have to start heading back. But we've got one more stop. So I have a very good friend called Daniel. Daniel Ilabaka is a legend in the parkour world, and not only is he one of the most talented athletes I know, but he is also an incredible cinematographer. So I'm going to go meet him on the Susten Pass, which is another crazy road in the Alps, just a couple of hours north of here, and we are going to shoot something real nice. And I'm back with a massive beard. I've actually spent the last couple of months editing this video on and off, as I had like 10 hours of footage, which was a bit overwhelming, but we've done it. So I wanted to end this video with a bit of a summary of the car and of the trip. The car itself is mega. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the Taycan Sport Turismo was my favorite electric car before I'd even driven it, and that hasn't changed a bit. In fact, I love it even more now, and I cannot recommend it enough. It's just got all bases covered. It's quick, it's sexy, it's super fun to drive. It's really comfortable on longer journeys. It's got a good infotainment system that didn't lag or freeze once on the trip. Nice back seats, massive boot. There's really like nothing wrong with it, which is quite rare nowadays. And yeah, I know it's expensive. £120,000 is a lot of money, but this is a Porsche. It's not gonna be cheap. However, if you've been following the Taycan used market recently, then you'll have seen the crazy prices these have been selling for. We're talking £120,000 cars for less than £60,000, which is, in my opinion, an absolute bargain. I know some of you will think that the car being electric is what sucks about it, but I disagree. I have nothing against electric cars. I think they're great tools to get from A to B as like efficiently or as cheaply as possible. So it doesn't really bother me if the car itself isn't that fun to drive. But this is where the Taycan shines, because it is really fun to drive. The only downsides I can see with electric cars at the moment is obviously the range and the charging situations. But neither of these are Porsche's fault. Yeah, we need more range, but if we're being honest, we need more range on all electric cars. I averaged about 280 miles for my entire trip, and that was at mostly motorway speeds and then obviously driving fast up in the mountains. So I have no doubt that this car could do over 300 miles of range with more regular usage. The charging is really where this whole electric car thing fell apart for me. Every single charging station I stopped at least one of them was broken, and there was a few times where I stopped to charge and none of them were working. This is garbage. It's not good enough. And this wasn't just an Ionity problem. I stopped at a bunch of other providers' charging stations and had the same issues. Another problem I ran into was just massive queues to charge, and I actually missed my ferry back because of it. I stopped twice on the way back up from Switzerland to charge, and both times I had over an hour wait just to get plugged in. So yeah, we need more range. we need more chargers, but most importantly, we need chargers that are reliable and actually work. And we need cheaper energy prices. It's at the point now where, unless you're charging from home, it's more expensive to run an electric car than it is to run an ICE car. It doesn't make any sense. I think maybe when cars have like 400 or 500 miles of range and energy companies stop taking the with their prices, people will be way more likely to move over to electric. Anyway, the trip was epic, and now that I'm home, I just want to go back. Did I miss the sound of an internal combustion engine bouncing off the mountain walls? Yeah, obviously, but I really enjoyed the Taycan. It's funny because I'd never driven a Porsche before. Cars that are famous for their engines, and the first Porsche I get to drive is an electric one. So, fingers crossed, we can get our hands on some proper Porsches to drive in the future. Not that the Taycan isn't a proper Porsche, but you get what I mean. I want to thank Danny, Niels, Brian, and Diego for helping film on the Susten Pass shoot. Filming this section was so much fun. Just a bunch of mates up in the mountains, nice car, beautiful roads. Oh, I could do that stuff every day, forever. I also want to thank Rob from Porsche for letting me take the Taycan. This channel is tiny in the grand scheme of things, so for a company like Porsche to allow me to do this is awesome. And lastly, I want to thank you guys for watching. This one took me a long time to edit, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, it helps me out a lot. Subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one.